Well, we want to take a look at a local restaurant that came to life after two buddies spent some time surfing in Baja, Mexico. Soul Restaurant incorporates all of the flavor and the color that you'll find in a festive Baja beach town. Take a look.
How this whole concept started was our friendship. Matt, big surfer, teaching me how to surf and taking us down to Baja, but falling in love with the food down there.
About 35 minutes from San Diego, you're in Baja. I mean, it's a day trip. It's a really quick little trip. You know, you kind of cruise the coast, hitting different taco stands, different seafood carts, different seafood markets down the way, and when you just kind of accidentally fall in love with the entire cuisine.
You realize that the food experience down in Mexico is not always a huge plate of food with melted cheese, beans, rice, and sauce, where literally you'll have one entree, you're committed to one type of food for the whole dining experience, and you walk out and you can barely get out of your chair, you're so full. That is not what it's like down there. If you look at Chef Deborah's menu, really smaller portions, bold flavors, small portions, meant for sharing, and meant for pairing with different beverages.
Chef Deb really kind of opened our eyes to the entire spectrum of coastal Baja cooking, and that's kind of, I think, really where Soul went from being this small little abbreviated taco stand in, you know, some center somewhere to, hey, wait a second, there is a lot of potential. We can make this really reflect what's going on down in Baja.
A lot of times the social environment surrounding a taco stand is where people meet after work or they meet for their lunch break. Cocktails play a relatively large role, but the fun part about Soul, we always discussed that there was two kitchens. There's a food kitchen and a beverage kitchen, and everything we make is from scratch. Every drink that we make is made with fresh juice. Everything comes from hand-muddled fresh fruit, herbs and spices. But the idea and the simplicity of Deb's vision is just fresh ingredients really make great products.
The whole concept, I think, it really started around tacos. So for me, you got to start with street tacos. From our carne asada, our carnitas, I think they express what's really going on down in Mexico very well. We do a lot of ceviches, we do sashimi, we do peel and eat shrimp.
It's very simple, but very, very fresh, and that's really what reminds me of my experiences down in Baja.
We grew up out here. We both grew up out here. I went to grade school all the way through college here. And in growing up here, knowing what we wished we always had, we felt that this was a really good opportunity to come out and get a chance to bring the concept home.
I went to grade school, high school, college down at the University of Arizona, so this really is home for both of us in many ways.
I won't hold U of A against you.
I went to Arizona State, so please feel welcome to dining room. Absolutely.
Yeah, I actually got an education down at U of A.
I'll just stop right there. I'll stop right there. I'm not even going to finish that.
Now that is funny. Business partners, but arch rivals.
I know.
I like it.
Yeah, it's perfect.
We won't hold
Keeps
that
everything
U of A thing against him, though. Yeah, go Devils. Anyway, joining me now in the Stone Creek Kitchen is Executive Chef Deborah Schneider. She will be preparing a hot and raw tropical ceviche, and I don't know this word. You're going to have to help me out.
Habanero?
No. The cucarachas?
Ah, cucarachas, yes.
Wait,
that's what
that
we're
can't
gonna
be
do.
right.
It is right, and it's, you know, Mexicans have a great sense of humor. They're always very ironic about how they name things.
Right.
So the cucarachas are actually head-on shrimp with the little feelers
Gotcha.
and
Okay,
everything.
so let's, just in case,
Yes.
everybody knows cucaracha is a roach.
We don't want to scare you
I'm like,
off.
I wasn't
no.
going to say that because I thought that can't be right.
Yeah.
but,
No, that's what
but
they
apparently
call
it
them.
is.
And it's a very traditional dish in Sonora and in Baja California.
Fantastic.
You have it all over the place. You'll love it. So.
All right. Well, if it tastes as good as everything in that piece looked, I will eat a cucaracha all day long.
Well, you don't. You can get your courage up for it, because first we're going to make a hot and raw tropical ceviche. We were talking earlier about how light and healthy a lot of our food is at Soul, and this is a classic example of that. Our hot and raw has habaneros in it and tropical fruit. So I sort of brought some of the things that go in it here so you can see it.
A little fresh, a little hot. I like that combination.
And when you make something like a ceviche, because it's raw, it looks cooked, but it's raw, you always want to make sure you have a fantastic piece of fish. And this is a gorgeous piece of Gulf sea bass. It's actually vaquera.
Okay, let me understand. Now, I thought ceviche was raw, but it was quote unquote cooked in vinegars and in things that when it's
cooked.
It's cooked, right? Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's really not
So it's
cooked.
more like preserved or whatever, like
Yeah, there's a chemical reaction that happens with the acids that you probably don't want to know about.
Okay.
But we won't worry about that right now. The important thing is that you have beautiful fish, because this we make to order. So when you come in and sit down, you order hot and raw. We actually make it to order. So we'll have the fish diced up. This is very simple. You all know how to do this, right?
And
Count
you
your fingers before and after, very important.
And you like to keep the pieces nice and tiny. Why?
I like them because you want the lime to start to affect the fish, but you don't want it to turn it into sort of mush.
Okay.
And most of the time when you're having ceviche, you're having fish that's been sitting in lime juice for a long time. And to me, it doesn't taste that great when you do that. So you're going to take your little esprimador. This is a fun little tool.
Yes.
I'm sure you know this. Very important to have on Cinco de Mayo, one of these when you're making your margaritas. Always make sure the cut side goes down on the lime, because otherwise you'll get a face full of lime juice.
I learned that on the air.
I've instructed a couple of people on how to
Wasn't
turn
my
that down.
finest moment.
Yeah. You want to use fresh limes. You never want to buy bottled lime juice or citrus for this, because we're talking fresh, fresh, fresh.
Now, tell me how you learned to prepare all these meals, and where your kind of your background, your culinary background comes from.
I've been cooking professionally for 30 years. I started out as a magazine editor, and I just fell in love with food, and I figured I would control a means of supply by cooking. So I learned how to cook, and I've run a 4-star Hilton as an executive chef. I was Hilton's only female executive chef ever.
Wow.
Can I get a yes, please?
Amen. Yes.
So I just put the lime juice and the salt on there. I'm just going to stir it around, let it sit for a minute, and then I'll tell you about some of the other things.
Well, before you get to the other stuff, I do want to mention, as we're talking about kind of your resume and where you come from, you have these 2 cookbooks. They're actually only 2 of 5. These are just 2 of the 5 that you've actually made over the last 30 years, or?
Yeah, yes. These are all in the last 10 years, actually. Amore Tacos is a lot of the food that we serve at Soul, and I call it my little party book. It's got lots of margarita recipes in it, especially the Soul margaritas. It's got recipes like this in it, so everything's very fresh and very fun, very easy to make.
Oh, this would be a huge hit in my house.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump back in here. We've put the lime, we've put...
Got the lime.
Was it sea bass, did you say?
It's fresh piquette of sea bass. Then we're going to start adding some tropical fruit. So I love this combination of heat and sweet, and we'll get to the heat in a minute. So next up is going to be some mango.
Mango.
Diced up mango, and everybody knows how to dice up a mango. A little bit of diced pineapple. So if you don't want to buy mango and pineapple, you can use any kind of fruit. You can put jicama in here. You can put cucumber in here. So it's really
I love
going
jicama
to have
in almost anything.
I could live on jicama.
When I used
And
to work
chili
in El
con limon.
Paso, I would go across the border and just, putz around in Mexico, and they used to sell like cups on the street of jicama, and they'd put lemon or lime and paprika or chili powder.
Chili con limon.
Yes.
It's ascorbic acid and salt and ground chilies, and I absolutely love it.
Good. You just get it in a little cup. It was like, I don't know,
Yeah.
2 pesos or something.
Yep, it's delicious. A copa de frutas. So this is how we plate it up. So we have pico de gallo, which is just fresh tomatoes and onions and cilantro and a little bit of jalapeno. Not much. We'll just put that in there. And then the way we serve it, so it's real pretty, is we sort of layer it up. And then the ceviche goes on top.
The colors are absolutely stunning when you
Isn't
put
this
them all
gorgeous?
together.
And it's so easy to make this, and it's so fresh when you taste it.
Audience, I wish you could smell what I smell. I smell like just fresh, like the lime I'm smelling a little bit of the sweet, because I guess, does the lime make the sweet kind of?
The limes are sweet. Yeah, people forget that. Limes are actually sweet, and lemons give a little bit more flavor to it, and we're going to add a little bit of lemon to it now.
And what's that
like
little
this.
orange pepper over there? Is that for this?
That's the habanero. That's the fun part. So this is our garnish. So habanero chili, this is a very, very hot chili. So we're talking about tropical heat here, like real heat that's going to burn your lips and your tongue, so and your fingers
how
and
Andy
anything
likes
else
it.
you care about. So when you're working with habaneros, you want to be very careful to try and avoid the seeds. So I'm just going to mince this up a little bit, because not everybody likes heat. The way we serve it at Soul is we put the habaneros on top.
Well, I'm going to let you sprinkle those on top. Coming up in our next segment, we're going to do what?
We are going to do cucarachas,
Oh, that's
shrimp
right.
cucarachas.